Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Price, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee and players Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Viz, Del Borovic as Morgan Rolls, and Josh Halbot as Gideon Vega. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band have joined forces with the drukhari poisoner. Attikus prepared to fight an Ur-Ghul. Gideon burned the poison out of Morgan's blood. Morgan confirmed the truth of Valentia's claim, and Valentyne committed the party to Valentia's plan for guaranteed access to the Dolman Gate. But will Valentia keep her word, or is trusting the xenos a mistake? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
Overheard in the hallway of the Cabal of the Bloody Sands office building. I really should learn not to play with things when I'm in the middle of other things. Rookie error.
Sorry, that's just really funny. I like that one a lot.
Thank you. So you have just treated with Valencia, the Lamian member of the Cabal of the Bloody Sand, or so she purports to be, but having poisoned Morgan as a little kind of petty game she was playing because #drukhari, you had a rather frank conversation with her about her goals and her objectives. After two back-to-back triumphs, you set a convenient trap. Gideon healed the poison that was running through the veins of Morgan. Pew, pew, pew. With his sort of greater control over his psyker powers. Attikus was ready to fight flesh-flaying monster demons and didn't have to. And you determined that Valencia actually has no specific agenda against you. She's slowly poisoning Davros, the Archon of this cabal, on behalf of her unnamed masters.
Feels very vect, I will say, from the side.
I mean, who's to say? Who did this?
Know?
She says, wearing her giant vect hot dog suit. But yeah, who's to say? Who knows?
Random.
But yes, so you've made a deal with her. Basically, you stay out her way. She stays out of yours. She killed the only two witnesses who could have ruined things, and blamed it on some pets, which was handy.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that Valentyne has robotic eyes because he's definitely uploading that conversation into Eugene just for backup in case shit goes down. Mm-hmm. But that makes perfect sense.
So with all that resolved, the evening is upon you, and the threat of Sileus, Davros's errant son, is high. So Morgan and Valentyne, you take to the roof.
Yep, we'll keep the Archoflagellant with us, and we'll keep L1 with us.
Okay. And then Gideon and Attikus, you'll be patrolling, I think probably with Cragstern. They're not really willing to let you just do your thing. You guys will be up on the roof with a small cadre of Kabbalite
that's great.
snipers who are just kind of positioned up there anyway. And they're the very classic, FBI snipers who are just in position there all the time. And just another person comes and, punch in, punch out. New gun comes down, old gun goes out. So they're up there, but they're not really paying you any mind. They would have been ordered, they would have their orders in advance.
Great. Valentyne, this is the orders he would have given would be for everybody to just do exactly what we're expecting. Because the only thing that can fuck us up right now is Sileus blowing up the situation. There's no way he'll let us inside. We let this play out one way or the other, and we just protect from that.
Yep.
Valentyne's going to take his evening to, take all the shit he's seen in Camorra and upload it to his datapad and Eugene. Because maybe he should have been in the Ordo Xenos. After the Black Library and this, he went from Malleus to Xenos territory. There's no Hereticus in any of this, but not a lot of people get into Camorra with the eyeballs he has and the ability to just show the city streets he's been in. How do they defend buildings? All these kind of things. This would be the Astra Militarum dream for if they could ever find this location and be like, oh, here's the average street layout. Here's how fast the bikes go. Here's the other things. He probably doesn't have a ton of I store everything from the day in his eyes, but he would have clicked a couple of pictures and then he can get anything he's seeing on the roof now.
Admittedly, Lizzo Lizardman was built to be a constant reporter and source of things. So
he'll use that too. So it's just compiling
deep databases.
Yeah, compiling as much as possible. So he's got that for posterity. He trusts Morgan. There are a lot of snipers here. He's really here. He didn't know there were snipers on the roof. But the plan is always like Morgan can start sniping and he can stand over her with a sword and deal with anybody who gets too close. But the other thing he wants to do is check out this Crozius Arcanum because he knows he has it. He knows it's banged up, but there are often signs on Crozius, depending on the chapter that they are related to. Like the Dark Angels ones have the Aquila, but in between the wings is like a Watcher in the Dark instead of that kind of thing. Or if it's got names on it or anything like that where you can try to figure out provenance.
Yeah. So looking at this thing, as you examine it, again, it's pretty banged up. Also, anything of value that they could see, because they thought they would have viewed this as a mace or an axe, like a bad axe, hence why she was like, you sure you don't want it sharpened? So really more of a, whatever, we'll just pick the precious gemstones off and leave the thing alone. So between that and the damage, it takes you a few moments, but you're able to make out a teardrop-sized socket on one side that you'd very clearly identify as it wouldn't be a Blood Angel's weapon itself.
Could be Blood Angels, could be successor chapter.
But it would be, this is definitely a successor chapter. Also, if a chaplain of the Blood Angels fell in drukhari space, that would, you wouldn't know, but that would be a really big fucking deal. So yeah, successor chapter. And again, that's why it isn't it isn't blood drop with wings. It's like a more complex insignia of some sort with a blood drop in it from a successor chapter. But yes, clearly of that lineage. Also kind of makes sense as to why this person put up such a fight, because the Blood Angels are like notoriously, in a no-win, hopeless scenario, are particularly known for just like sticking it out to the last possible moment.
Yeah, the Inquisition has some inklings of their frenzying behavior, but not enough proof to be able to prosecute.
Well, so if anyone,
unlike the Flesh Terrors,
I was going to say, like, Blood Angels or Wolves, yeah, you got a good odd of staying up for a long time in this particular society and scenario. So yes, successor chapter of the Blood Angels. Otherwise, yeah, you would see some like names of Brother Marines on it, but like none that you would recognize. They're just names scrawled in, but again, very well worn. Odds are this thing was likely used by a bunch of different gladiators after the chaplain fell, and was just in the arena armory as a weapon you could wield. And so, you do see chipping along the edge of the sort of winged head of it from when it has been bashed against things. But also given that it's not that heavy and it doesn't have an edge, it was eventually just kind of dustbin, basically, which is how this lady would have found it, from buying a pallet of like broken gladiator shit, from...
Yeah, Valentyne would take some time to memorize the names of the Marines. Traditionally, a lot of the time they just have one name that is used by Marines, but he would just take that list. I can pull some Blood Angel successor names offline for you, so you don't have to just vomit names at me right now.
It will literally never come up again, so I don't care.
Perfect. Right.
Captain Space Marine.
But he would memorize that because this is the one weapon he has that he's confident can harm a demon.
Yeah.
It needs to be upgraded and it needs to be cared for, but he is in a position knowing that all of those names are chaplains. There are souls he can call out to in the warp to assist him while he is fighting the demon. So that's why I'm like, I need them names. Right. But not just because it's a needless chore for you. It's a chore for me for something I want to do. But he's got a lot of respect for this. So the moments of kind of just having some quiet moments of prayer, some focus, having that focused on the Emperor. Faith is a weapon that he has not had to wield in a traditional sense that is now key to his existence.
Totally. Well, and I think, too, given his worldview, that Pandora is siphoning what should be the Emperor's away. It's also like, this is that. Not only do I have to like wield my faith as a weapon, but this is a faith-based war now. It's not just like the machinations of mortals. It's also like demonic interest. And
one of us is right.
Yep.
It's me or Pandora, which means it's me. But I need to do well enough to demonstrate that in the Emperor's name. Because the Emperor chose me for this fight, which is a wild idea for Valentyne. He's always known the Emperor has chosen him, but he's never seen a specifically tailored conflict that is just for him. It's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. And while Valentyne is doing that and on the roof, she's watched him use the Crozius Arcanum, but also watched him do a bunch of data slate and upload things and things like that. And she'll... Inquisitor, can I borrow your data slate?
Yes, of course, interrogator. Can I ask why?
I'm going to give you access codes. And so she's taken his data slate and taking stuff out of Toby so she can give him the files from Toby to be able to upload, but then also takes a wire and sticks it in her head because she's thinking about both having just been poisoned and also Valentyne telling Toby to get Attikus. And she's like, I'm giving you the access codes to Toby in the event that I die, that you will have full control over him.
Appreciated. Allow me to respond in kind, and he's going to give Morgan the codes to Eugene so he can hand over the database that is in there should something go wrong with Valentyne.
Oh, shit. It's perfect. Yeah, she will keep that in her head computer chips rather than on her person data slate or anything like
Valentyne
that. Yeah,
could sometimes pull up HUD updates and stuff like that. He's also going to take it off the data slate and put it in the brain. Hanging onto the codes of a weapon
not
is not
keeping
something.
it in the cloud.
Yeah.
An onboard storage.
After L1, it's like, no. This goes in the hard copy.
Yes.
This goes in the no Wi-Fi hard drive.
Yes, exactly. So she will take that off and hand it back to him.
Awesome. Okay. So you guys do all that. Can you roll me, I think probably Morgan, because you're looking down the scope, perception or vigilance? Maybe it's vigilance. This feels like an appropriate vigilance.
Not very good at that. I'm going to be distracted. I'm much better at perception.
Could I add?
I could do streetwise.
Okay. I'll give you streetwise.
Valentyne, could we add him as an Auspex boost?
Sure.
That'll be 2 boosts for Valentyne for Auspex.
Perfect. So that's streetwise. Okay.
He can
And
always
difficulty?
just set it to ping.
Difficulty of 3, please.
Okay.
No booster set. Actually, I'm going to give you a setback for being tired. This has been an extraordinarily long day.
She is tired.
You guys haven't slept since the Black Library. Oh, no, I guess you did sleep in the Black Library.
Yeah. I'm just tired because I was
very long
poisoned.
Day. Yep.
I was poisoned and the poison was burnt out of me.
From the fire blood. That's really been holding her back.
Yeah, it happens. Happens to the best of us.
Can I get a Toby boost?
Sure.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'm going to roll it now. 2 successes, 2 advantage, 1 triumph.
Yeah,
Toby saw it. It's the bird triumph.
Everything.
We're on a fucking roll.
I think
up
Morgan
here.
and Valentyne are going to be drukhari by the time we're done.
Meanwhile, downstairs, Attikus and Gideon, what is your kind of patrol situation looking like? Or guarding the building?
I think Gideon's going to take all his cues from Attikus. If he's given him tactical information, and Gideon's going to try and take in as much as possible, while at the same time not trying to get distracted by Cragstern. Because I think being this close to a xenos, I'm sure he's listening a little bit, but then his eyes will kind of drift to Cragstern, oh man, this is so cool. he's starting to enjoy himself a little more,
fair enough.
given the circumstances.
Cool.
I think Attikus would be instructing Cragstern, if Cragstern is even open to receive instructions, basically to take us on a perimeter route where we would basically go to every entrance to this base and basically just pause, check out the space, things like that, check in with anyone who's on guard there if they've seen anything suspicious or if just literally anything has happened, and then move on and just keep doing that circuit basically. So it's just like a patrol for us. He is under the assumption that desperation is what's going to drive this assault if it happens at all. So he's not, and he also just knows he doesn't have the wherewithal for it, but he's not looking for acrobatic stealth ninjas flipping over walls and coming up the sides of buildings and stuff like that. He's looking for someone to have commandeered some kind of truck to drive through the front of the building, with nitroglycerin in it or something like that. So he's just basically looking for the big ones, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
When you talked about Attikus becoming a saint has that been open to everybody? I can't remember if Gideon was in the room when these conversations were happening.
You might have heard whispers on the street, but Valentyne was specifically talking to Morgan. He hasn't walked you through the idea of Attikus as a saint, specifically because it's so mind-boggling that Gideon's dealing with enough. Gideon has a low-level sergeant, and that's fine.
If you were waxing poetic about it, I was going to ask and be like, what do you think of that? But
I mean, you could always just roll a perception to see if you overheard Morgan.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Yeah, well,
Because he talked with Morgan on the street about the Crozius once it was found,
Yes,
and
we
its
were all
significance.
walking around.
I can't remember if you talked to Attikus about it.
No.
Okay.
He mentioned it to Attikus in passing and has not mentioned it to Attikus since, because
was
he
the
doesn't
original.
want to skew the
Yeah.
he doesn't want to skew the rules. If you think you're a saint, you might do unsaintly things because that's not what the Emperor wants. You're a creature of purpose. Attikus.
Difficulty, I think. Morgan, what's your cunning?
4.
All right, so difficulty of 4.
Yeah, my cunning's also 4, so that's consistent.
Yeah.
oh dear.
Oh, dear.
I mean, you're sitting at 4 and 1 story points. So
How badly you want to know.
actually, I would say you could spend a story point to have overheard that.
Oh,
I would
just
buy that
call
just as a straight spend.
Okay, you know what?
It's narratively interesting, and I think that's how story
I'll
points
do
are
that,
fun.
but
All right.
I'll roll first to see if I want to see what the result is.
right.
Yeah, I would have failed and got a threat. I think he punches me in the head. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not a saint. Fuck you.
Yeah. That's blasphemy.
So I think in a moment of relative quiet after you've kind of given all the orders, and if Craigstern is minding his own business, I suppose I don't know.
Sure.
I definitely.
He's like also on. He's like a top tier bodyguard, so he's like also checking with the patrols that are out and like the guards and stuff. So you have moments of quiet where he's not over your shoulder the whole time.
Sure. Atticus, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but I find this very captivating, I suppose. When the Inquisitor, when Valentyne mentions that he thinks you might be a saint of the Empire, of the Imperium, what do you think about that?
What do I think about it?
Well, you must have thoughts about it. You must consider. You must. Is that exciting? Is that? It seems like such a mind-boggling concept. I know we have not had a lot of time to kind of think, and I know the Inquisitor has been asking me what I think and what my purpose must be. But what do you think? What do you want your purpose to be?
Well, I know my purpose. I'll serve the Emperor.
But how do you serve him? I guess I am very curious about these roles that everyone takes. Everyone seems very, very good at very certain things, but sometimes I think we get asked to do more than we are ready for, and that seems like it is such a massive ask of someone to step into a role like that. Do you know what I mean?
I think I do, and I'm gonna ignore the borderline insubordination of suggesting that anything asked of us is ever too much. However, I will say it was a bit of a surprise to have that suggested. However, if the Inquisitor thinks I might be a saint, then I might be a saint. Simple as.
But do you feel like a saint?
No.
Oh.
I suppose when or if it happens, I'll know, but other than that, no.
Oh. That.
Do I look like a saint to you?
I think he thinks about that for a long time. Well, I mean, you inspire a lot of... And he goes to say hope, and then he pulls back. You inspire... You are very good at what you do. And he's like trying to figure out exactly how to like plan that. You make a very good example.
I see. Well, you're really coming into your own as well. You're no slouch yourself now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I guess I'm just trying to find out if we all have a purpose within, or if we all just rise to the challenge presented to us. And I still, I guess, don't know this answer.
What difference would it make if you knew the answer to that question?
And he smiles, I think, a little bit, and he goes, I guess you're right. Thank you. That's very helpful.
If you say so.
At which point you hear the roar of an engine, and the two of you turn to look, and Attikus, right as fucking rain, a drukhari raider just like packed with munitions.
He's on the radio right away.
Well, hang tight. Burning towards the entrance. And there's like a driver at the front, just like manic gleam in his eye, big smile. You recognize someone who looks enough like Davros to be Sileus, riding up above it, just like shirt open, jacket blowing in the breeze, holding tight to the flag of the cabal of the bloodied sand.
Yeah.
Seemingly a bottle of some exotic beverage in one hand. Just screaming into the wind, possibly what we heard previously. Just screaming into the wind. And as you're watching it, his head just turns to red mist. As Morgan, you snap off a shot with your triumph. And as the body slumps and falls, the rest of the snipers just open up on the driver. And the raider just flips and explodes in the street. And immediately, Craigstern has like swords out with two arms, rifle up. And he's just like the snipers, the autocannons on top, and him are just pelting the wreckage as he slithers forward with the blades. But it is a raging inferno, and over I assume maybe the door opens, and one of the menials runs up to you with a comm bead.
Oh, thank you. Valentyne will put it in.
Well done, Inquisitor. Seem you're very effective yet again. They did not get anywhere near the compound. It would seem my son... Pardon me. My son was very eager in his attempts to get revenge and has paid for it rather dearly. Not even Vect will be able to point a finger at us for this. This was simple self-defense. If you'll excuse me, I am feeling a little tired after this eventful day, and now that my idiot son is in the ground, I think perhaps I can have a sleep. You will forgive me again. I seem to have something caught in my throat, though not a bullet like my idiot son. My thanks to your delicious courtesan, and if you decide that maybe you don't need her in your band, she is more than welcome to stay here.
I'll keep that in mind, revered Archon. Rest well. We'll watch over you until you've awoken.
Cool.
He'll look to Morgan, take the combi dot, give it back to the menial.
He scurries away. Chain going cling, cling, cling.
Apparently, I'm not the only one to see your value, though I believe he does heartily underestimate you.
I appreciate the way he sees value, but I already have a place of work.
Absolutely.
The night carries on. The cleanup is relatively quick. You, Attikus and Gideon, you're informed that you don't need to patrol anymore. But I assume, Attikus, you're still out and about, or
who tells him he doesn't need to patrol?
I think at this point, Valentyne would give the order if there was a side room that they could actually go rest in, because the difference between 4 to 6 hours sleep once you know a threat has been eliminated. He knows. Okay, Sileus is off the table.
Yep.
Valentia's doing the poisoning. Odds are it's Vect overseeing this whole thing, which means nobody's fucking with... It's somebody so powerful they can just go I don't like this cabal, they're gone.
Yeah.
Which means they have Vect backing if they're not Vect. So it just means, all the big players are here. Nobody else needs to come in because the higher-ups already have somebody in here doing a murder. He'd rather have all of his forces on 6 hours sleep going to Mars than no hours sleep going to Mars.
Absolutely.
So it would be kind of an altered 4 hours on, 4 hours off, and they get the rest that they could.
Great. So you can all roll for strain if you want it.
Do wounds heal at all over a sleep thing, or is it just...
That requires...
It's a full night. I think it's 1 wound.
Yeah.
And 6 hours is not a full night?
I'd give you the full night.
God bless. I needed 1 back.
Well, there you go. Oh, you know what? We're counting this as an overnight rest, so you would actually gain all your strain back.
Oh, yeah, full strain.
Yeah.
Oh,
Strain recovers fully with a full night's rest. It's wounds that are the slow one. Rolling for strain is more like if you're out in the field.
Moment to moment.
Yeah.
Between combat.
100%.
Chilling out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So you spend a night on the equivalent of Princess and the Pea beds, where there's just something vaguely uncomfortable about all of them to ensure a minor amount of inconvenience and pain. You awake. There's food brought to you. There are enough humans in Calmara that they would actually know what humans eat. Valencia sends a note saying, "I did not touch any of these."
And Valentyne appreciates the note and still scans it with his auspex and has L1 take a look.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, it's
But,
clean.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he would order Attikus to eat, and everybody else can just eat what they want.
Okay. Attikus eats under orders.
Yeah. And Morgan would pull out from her pocket a 2/3 left protein bar from the other place and give it to Atticus from the Black Library, the ones that were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd take that and say, "What can I do for you?"
This is for you. I can see the food that makes you uncomfortable.
Yes, it does. Is this for me to eat also?
Yes, or whenever you want.
Oh, don't. Can you order me to eat this if you want me to eat it?
Morgan's like, I thought I was doing you a favor. What is this? Like, in her head, it's just.
Valentine's going to look over and say, Colonel, I believe she's trying to provide you food that you would be more comfortable with instead of the drukhari sustenance.
Oh, I see. I mean, I get it. All right.
This is a respectful gift.
Oh, respectful. Oh, I apologize, interrogator. I meant no disrespect by questioning it or misunderstanding. It's just, well, he's not imperial, is it? But I understand, things being as they are, we can't all get what we need.
Camera pans to Gideon.
Oh, he's like
just in
actively-
general in life
Like,
right now. Not getting what he wants.
I'm Gideon is like stifling a snicker as he's like eating this, trying to like figure this out.
Do you eat through the mask, or is it full
I eat-
mask
he
off?
takes it.
It's
Oh,
it's
it's
a half
just the
basket.
top
sure.
of the face.
I think
Yeah.
he takes it off when
Orgoth
things are-
wrapped
Yeah.
Okay.
wrapped his mouth in like
Oh, okay.
bandana.
But it's good
yeah.
to know he takes it off, so
Yeah,
it's some
I think-
Gideon time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he's chilling. But yeah, I think you hear like an audible snicker before he like pretends that he coughed and whoa, this food.
I'm not yet comfortable with gifts, interrogator. Your generosity is new to me. Not just yours. Any generosity is new to me. So, thank you.
You're welcome, Colonel. Anything I can do to make things a little easier on you, I will try to do so.
I would never ask that of you. Thank you very much, interrogator.
You're welcome. She's gonna just go sit next to Gideon, like woof, eating the drukhari food. All right,
Gideon has a long like side look at Morgan as he like eats his food. Like,
and Morgan does a little nod, and she's like, "People who grow up in the military have a different everything about them."
yes, I am learning this every day.
I don't know what you're talking about, says Valentyne, eating at a perfectly square meal, sitting at military attention.
Attikus staring into the middle distance, just shoveling food into his mouth.
L1 will calm be to you, Morgan, and just say, I will admit it is rather strange to see the Lord Van Houten deferring and bowing down to you, Captain. It's quite a switch from your status on Greybridge. That must have been an exhausting time for you and your companions, if indeed he does take orders from you.
That's more of a recent thing, but it doesn't matter to me about those sorts of things, especially when it is fake, like on Greybridge.
Well, I suppose it is easy to be fake in a place that is made of such artifice, after all. I was wondering, Captain, would you mind terribly if I could patch into Mr. Vega? I am curious to speak to someone from my own world.
She's going to look at Valentyne and then and then say, Elvan, you may speak to him, but do not take any orders from him. And if he says anything out of line, you are to report it back to me.
Oh, understood. I quite understand what side of the bread is buttered.
Very good. Go ahead.
And she'll patch into Gideon.
I didn't hear any of that, right?
No, it's all
Yes, okay. Just making sure. Gideon's like, come on.
Yeah.
We're right beside each other. You serious?
She'll patch in.
Yeah, sorry.
His first thought, I wonder who she's talking to. And then immediately L1 in your ear.
Mr. Vega, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to startle you. I forget that perhaps you are less familiar with the calm beads and the subvocalizations. I am formerly Lizzo Lizardman, and I'm sure you know me from my reports and papers. It occurs to me that you and I are perhaps all that's left of the actual Greybridge, and though I enjoy my conversations with the captain, although I do wonder if that is indeed her rank these days, I am somewhat lonely, I think, when it comes to what Greybridge was. It was such a specific place, and I think perhaps only you can understand the loss of such a place, even though it does feel rather small and silly now. How are you coping with being... like, robot can't gesture all this.
Yeah.
But with, all of this...
I think when he hears Lizzo talk about feeling lonely and like he looks a little buoyed. He's like, yes, I know. This is it is a very human feeling for a robot, I think, but it's a very understandable feeling. There is no good advice I can give you for how to cope with what we are experiencing right now. But I have been able to parse small morsels of valuable insight, I think. And the Inquisitor is very severe in the way that he doles this advice out. But if you ignore some of the meaner things and you get to the nugget of what he is trying to say, I think the thing you have to do is find purpose. And if you find purpose, then the weirdness and the strangeness all just becomes background. And you look for the task. And Attikus is very good at this. He is unified in order and purpose, and it serves him very well. And I think the more that you can drown out the noise, and you find what you are good at, and you can excel at it. It makes everything a lot easier.
That is rather wise advice, Mr. Vega. I will admit I am rather excited about getting to serve a purpose beyond simply gossip mongering and occasionally bumping things in one direction or another. Only after being freed from the direct control of Trin Rakai have I come to understand exactly how rote my actions were, how written my destiny was. To get to participate in something even as strange and wild and far from what I know as this is rather exciting, if scary. But then I'm come to understand that my own sentience was not a marvel or a miracle, but the act of a xenos. So really anything I can do between now and the end of my brief existence would be a bit of a delight. But I appreciate your tips about the Inquisitor. I had very little interaction with him back on Greybridge. I thought he was simply a servant. I thought maybe there was something about him, perhaps a spy, perhaps a secret assassin. But I never could have guessed he was an Inquisitorial agent. That was quite a shock. In any case, I also wanted to apologize. I did hack your Jeffrey once. Your host didn't have a lot of gossip or major doings, so I wasn't able to report on anything, and in the interest of transparency, I wanted to both apologize and to say I enjoyed my brief time in your house. It seems that amongst the nobles of Greybridge, the House Vega actually meant what it said. It was nice. I am sorry for your loss.
And I think this is kind of one of the first times Gideon's had to sit down and think about that in his life before, and he I think looks genuinely touched. He goes, "I thank you. That it feels weird to celebrate something that was so hastily destroyed and is so it still holds a lot of value to me, and I appreciate you saying that, Lizzo, or L1, or...
Oh, to you I can be Lizzo Lizardman. After all, we were both members of the society, now weren't we? Yes, well, I'm glad, Mr. Vega. You seem to be finding your way here, which is good. And though we too may end up being cosmically insignificant and easily destroyed, perhaps we too can hold some value yet.
And I have had a lot of help, and if you need any help, just... And he, points at his combi.
Well, thank you, Mr. Vega. It is nice to be invited rather than to sneak in for once. And then the robot will just drift back into its... I mean, it didn't move, but it'll just...
Then Morgan will afterwards be like, L1.
Yes, Captain.
Please record all conversations you have with Gideon Vega and keep them for the Inquisitor to access.
Oh, Captain Vaughn, you should know me better than that. Of course I recorded it.
Thank you.
L1, a quick question for you. Valentyne says completely clueless that L1 has done anything. So as far as he can tell, L1 floated forwards and drew his attention.
And she's pulled a lot of different servitors and had to listen on, so she could actually be having these conversations concurrently.
Oh, yeah. But Valentyne is completely unaware of anyone else's conversation.
Yes, Lord Inquisitor.
Knowing that you have access to certain Eldari technology as well as your own capabilities, I also have this. And he takes out the seed, what's left of the seed. He says, we're going to Mars. There's going to be a demand for your skills that could be more challenging than anything you've faced before, and perhaps at a scale you've never experienced. The cryptography, the cryptology, the various new spheric defenses. All of this will be greater than anything you've experienced on Greybridge. I don't know if this could affect your technology in a positive way, but I know that it is psychically resonant as well as, I would assume, an excellent conductor of most things. Can you make use of this to make yourself of more use to us?
And the little Doc Ock arms come out, and she picks it up, and just there's the classic scanning laser. This is quite interesting, Inquisitor. You say this was part of the Warp Gate?
Correct.
Yeah, as part of a Warp Gate, I'm sure it will have many various properties. I will say I did spend an awful lot of time in a variety of different servitor devices, and I stole what code I could here and there in order to ensure that I was most able to find my way into all of the places that an eager columnist could. As a result, this will no doubt be a challenge for me, and one that I quite reasonably may fail. However, I do think I have better odds at it than the average servitor.
So of course.
I will examine this and see if I can find some value or application for it. I do not wish to speak to Trin Rakai ever again, but if you were to deem it necessary, I would be happy to engage in conversation with him in the hopes of trying to determine this seed's exact value and application.
Until our situation is resolved here, this seems to be an excellent use of time. I will provide Trin Rakai, and I will also provide the services of you, Mr. Vega. He's been saying this whole thing out loud. None of this has been hidden. As an active psyker, I believe you might be able to assist a more warp-based understanding of this seed and what it is capable of. I will say at the same time, Mr. Vega, if you feel that adding a few facets or gems from this seed to your own mask could assist with your abilities, I'd be happy to use my power sword to give you whatever pieces and whatever configurations you require.
He picks it up and starts inspecting it as best he can.
And here is the tool. And he turns Trin Rakai and just gives them a corner to take a look.
Can you roll me a psychokinesis, whatever the fuck that term is?
Sinusitis.
Sinusitis.
That's what I had.
Yeah. Cold.
Topical.
Yeah.
Achoo. Achoo, I say.
Oh, don't summon that demon. He's scary.
Oh, no.
Bless you.
Get that demon
Back to
out.
Ur-Ghul planet.
Yeah.
The grandfather sent Achoo to take this world.
Just from the Mucinex ads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
He also leads the cavity creeps. Like, he's just got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
No.
Grandfather loves the evil gingivitis. All right. So I'm going to say difficulty 3.
Sure. Anything else? Boost setbackies?
Well, yeah, you have a boost for working with Trin Rakai on this. Yeah. I think that's it.
Cool.
Go for it.
Ooh, 1 success, 4 advantage.
1 success, 4 advantage. Okay. So, yeah, I think, again, Trin's kind of in a bad spot right now, and with L1 bullying the shit out of him,
Yeah,
I
go
think
girl.
we kind of get to it. And Trin tells you, Gideon, my understanding from my research of the particular warp gate located on Greybridge, it was built by Chaos Forces some time ago. It is threaded with a material known as black stone that your feared robot enemies, the Necron, are quite fond of. It enhances the abilities of the warp stone quite considerably, and it almost acts as an accelerant to warp energies. He has no hands, so he's like, as you can see, shit.
I'll roll
Lizzo,
over.
and she says, L1, dear. L1, can you point? Thank you. And so Lizzo like points to just like you can almost see it as you move it around, similar to Morgan's the motley on her harlequin. Just like at certain angles, you can see where this black stone is threaded through. There's veins of it running through the stone. So it's not the stone itself, but it's been woven through it. And Trin says, I believe, given your particular abilities, if you were to insert it into your mask, it will likely add, shall we say, a boost to the use of your psionic abilities. But it will also, shall we say, enhance the perils of the warp. So functionally,
specific.
this will give you a
wow.
boost to your psycho abilities,
Sure.
but it's going to add +5 to perils of the warp.
Ooh, spicy. Yeah,
So,
of course.
Up to you whether you want it or not. But
I think absolutely. This is all becoming very compelling. And
Yep.
again, he's feeling more in control, so he's perils.
Never going to happen again.
Yep. So is it the whole seed required for his mask?
No,
or something?
it's
Okay.
just chips. You won't gain, like, it doesn't stack.
Yeah,
If you want to, like,
Just like the application.
yeah, let me know how it looks. Like,
Sure.
what do you enhance this metallic half skull mask with?
Yeah, Valentyne can use his power sword to kind of shave off or carve small pieces of what you look
Sure.
for, but it'd probably have to be simple geometric shapes because it is a power sword carving a rock.
Yeah. So I think, it's not going to be anything too complicated. I think if he can make it in that sort of like general outline of Warpfire to look like it's kind of like the sort of black outline sort of framing the edge of the mask.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually easier because it's just for Valentyne carving slivers off and then carving in indentations and then just fusing it in. So it kind of fringes the mask in jagged Warpfire.
Yeah, Valentyne can cut things away and you can do the welding.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just low-level warp energy.
So so you put it together, mask is complete, and there's still enough of the stone left to do what else needs doing. But yeah,
Thank you, Inquisitor. This is very kind of you.
I'm happy to assist you in your purpose and enhance your strength.
He puts the mask on. Does it look cool?
I believe it will be intimidating for most enemies and impressive for most allies.
Yes. Excellent.
Workers
thank-
give notch. Yes.
Having been used to looking at soft boy Gideon's scared face, staring at steel eyes surrounded by black gem shards.
Yeah.
Yes, this much more looks like the internal life Valentyne has seen in Gideon during combat now. There is a warrior in there.
yeah.
Just deep.
Yeah.
Deep and scared.
And then Trin says, "And thank you, Trin Rakai. Without
Turn
your Lizzo gets it with the Doc Ock on.
Back in a pocket. Fuck him.
Oh, yes. This is his purgatory.
If you get it, Lizzo will just, L1 will just hover over to you and say, Inquisitor, I just want to say yet again how much of a pleasure it is to be in this particular band.
I appreciate your excellent work. I hope the rest of this seed is useful for you. Again, if you need it carved into any particular shape for your usage, I will happily do so.
We shall see, Inquisitor. I'll be sure to let you know.
Wonderful. Would you rather I hang on to it or you in case a use case appears?
If we are attacked, you have a sword and a pistol, darling. I have a very round, overly sculpted metal body. I would much rather that it lives with you
Oh, allow
in the
us to
off
correct
chance
that
that we get
situation.
jumped and I get murdered.
Yes, that's not going to happen because we'll be defending you. And he's going to reach back and take out his stowed last pistol and say, I have this for you if this is of use.
Wait, robot hands come out and just hold and say, it is not yet, Inquisitor, but I will see if I can install it properly.
Excellent. Do you require a knife or any other close combat implement?
And I think she's got like the gimbaled servo hands have like little drills and like little like go gadget things. She's like, no, thank you, Inquisitor. I believe that as long as what we're fighting has orifices in its face, these should work just sufficiently well to just plug right in there.
Excellent. If it does not, and he reaches into his boot and pulls out a 6-inch knife that he flips around in his hand, let me know.
Will do, Inquisitor.
Flips it back around in his hand. It's almost a magic trick level of dexterity, because if you are in the Skull of Progenium, you don't have a whole lot to play with other than knives, but for him it's completely unconscious because it's a skill he only learned to impress other kids to make them fear him less. By the way, it didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, the sociopath's good with knives.
Cool.
What a nice guy. I just shink back into the boot.
Yeah, and L1 applauds lightly with 2 Doc Ock tentacles. And just says, in this reporter's storied opinion, that was very impressive, Inquisitor. I thank you for your offer. And then she fucks off.
All right, looks like I believe we'll wait until we hear from our companion, the Archon, and begin to make our move on the Dolman Gate, unless this takes too long.
And with that, the doors chime and open to Cragstern, who is standing there and says, you must come quickly. The Archon is not doing well. He awaits you at the Citadel.
Take us to him immediately. Valentine's immediately faking concern.
Yes, I will. This way. He starts to slither away.
Game on.
Right behind him. Yeah.
And with that, you make your way to the Archon Citadel.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features the voices of players Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, Josh Halbot, and Del Borovic, alongside Game Master Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC.com. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: George Dolby, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Alarain Okapi, Madre de Gatos, Nithrian, Garbo Ape, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dia De Los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy Funky Head, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Panda24NN, Shendra D, Your Homeboy Bones, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Kai Koa, Squire Solaire, Sandy Sassy Pants, Amira Lockhart, James Molina, Nick Hemsing, Alex LaFountain, Nikki Blake, Seth Cambron, Corpse Knight Silver, Adam Mir 101, The Dankler, Anticore 7, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.